With multiple leaks from Fremont, new supplier activity in Shanghai, and changes inside Tesla's structural casting program, the 2026 Model 2 appears set to rewrite what Americans can realistically expect from a budget EV. This is Tesla finally aiming at the everyday driver, the guy choosing between a used Camry, a 5-year-old Model 3, or a compact SUV with 80,000 miles already on it. But what exactly are the 3 huge changes Elon is planning for the 2026 Model 2? Will these upgrades finally make an EV cheaper to own than a gasoline car you've been driving for 20 years? And most importantly, are these changes actually practical for people living in cold climates, driving long distances, or relying on their car every single day? We'll break down all of that in today's deep dive. And hey, we're just one small push away from a big milestone: 19,190 subscribers. If you want to support independent EV reporting and help this channel hit that oddly satisfying number, hit subscribe and ring the bell. It costs nothing, but it tells YouTube that real, practical tech content still matters. How is Tesla finally bringing solid-state batteries to the 2026 Model 2? The biggest and most controversial change surrounding the 2026 Model 2 is Tesla's quiet movement toward a hybrid solid-state battery platform. A partial solid electrolyte structure designed to boost energy density without exploding costs. Multiple suppliers in Japan and South Korea have recently shifted production schedules for ceramic-based electrolyte films, and insiders suggest Tesla intends to integrate this technology into a compact pack in the 44 to 52 kilowatt-hour range, depending on trim. What makes this development so significant is the energy density per pound. Today's LFP-based Model 3 packs sit around 160 to 170 watt-hours per kilogram. A semi-solid-state configuration, even a conservative one, could push the Model 2's pack to the 220 to 245 watt-hour per kilogram range, enough to reduce pack weight by nearly 120 to 160 pounds, while keeping the same usable energy. For a sub-3,000-pound compact Tesla, that weight reduction changes everything. Acceleration improves, handling tightens, and efficiency climbs just from cutting mass alone. And then there's range. With aerodynamic drag expected to fall in the 0.23 to 0.25 CD band and a smaller frontal area compared to Model 3, even a 48 kilowatt-hour semi-solid pack could deliver 275 to 310 miles on the EPA cycle. In real-world highway driving, at a steady 65 miles per hour, drivers could still expect 230 to 250 miles, a number that finally makes a budget Tesla practical for suburban commuters and long-distance highway users who don't have home charging. Charging is another major upgrade. Solid-state materials handle heat differently. They don't swell like liquid electrolytes. That stability allows for higher peak charging currents. Early modeling shows that a semi-solid Tesla pack might safely accept 210 to 240 kilowatts on V3 superchargers. And once V4 stations roll out, peak bursts could reach 280 kilowatts under ideal temperatures. For drivers, that means going from 10% to 70% in roughly 12 to 14 minutes, shaving nearly a third off current LFP charging times. But where the solid-state architecture really shines is safety and cycle life. Without a flammable liquid electrolyte, thermal runaway becomes dramatically harder to trigger. In internal testing done by suppliers in 2025, punctured semi-solid cells heated to well over 480 degrees Fahrenheit without entering uncontrolled ignition. And because solid electrolytes degrade more slowly, these packs may sustain 4,000 to 5,000 full cycles, translating to 700,000 to over 800,000 miles before dropping to 80% capacity. How can Model 2 really outperform gas compacts while cutting energy use to record levels? Another massive change coming to the 2026 Model 2 is Tesla's move toward a completely redesigned, ultra-efficient drive unit built specifically for compact EVs. Unlike the larger permanent magnet motors used in the Model Y or the high-output rear units in the Model 3 Performance, the Model 2 appears to be receiving a new generation motor rated in the 110 to 140 kilowatt band, tuned for maximum miles per kilowatt hour rather than brute acceleration. And here's the surprising part. Even with lower peak output, this motor could push the Model 2 from 0 to 60 miles per hour in roughly 6.2 to 6.8 seconds, quicker than nearly every gasoline compact on U.S. roads today, including the Corolla, Civic, and Sentra. Tesla engineers have been experimenting with a new stator design using tighter coil geometry and a refined lamination stack that reduces eddy current losses at cruising speeds. Combined with a smaller, lighter solid-state battery pack, this new motor could push energy consumption down to 220 to 240 watt-hours per mile on the EPA cycle. For context, that's significantly lower than the Model 3 RWD, which usually sits near 250 to 260 watt-hours per mile, and dramatically lower than many rival compact EVs that struggle to dip below 300. With a lighter drive unit and a compact aerodynamic body sliding under the 0.25 CD barrier, the Model 2 could become one of the most energy-efficient electric cars ever sold in the U.S. market. Even in cold conditions, with Tesla's improved preconditioning and semi-solid-state thermal stability, winter efficiency loss may shrink to the equivalent of 25 to 35 miles of range instead of the 50 to 70 mile drops older EVs experienced, and the savings extend beyond electricity. Key suppliers in Germany and Texas suggest that Tesla is working to reduce copper use inside the motor by roughly 18 to 22 pounds per unit, replacing part of the internal windings with a more tightly formed, shorter loop design. Copper remains one of the most expensive materials in EV motors, and cutting even 15 or 20 pounds from each drive unit can save millions annually once production hits the projected 600,000 to 800,000 unit per year scale. Noise is another area where the Model 2 may surprise people. Previous Tesla motors often produced a signature high-frequency whine at specific RPM ranges, particularly noticeable between 40 and 55 miles per hour. The new motor reportedly uses a modified skew angle in its rotor to suppress harmonic resonance. This could make the Model 2 one of the quietest compact EVs in its class. But the biggest advantage of this drive unit is reliability. Fewer moving parts, reduced copper loads, lower thermal strain, and a narrower RPM band mean fewer failure points across the vehicle's lifetime. If Tesla's projections hold, the Model 2 motor could reach 600,000 miles before requiring major service. How can a low-cost EV still deliver premium comfort, crash protection, and smarter autonomy in 2026? The third major shift for the 2026 Model 2 is inside the cabin and behind the safety systems that keep the vehicle on the road. Early internal documents hint that Tesla is moving away from the heavy, multi-layered dashboards used in the Model 3 and Y, replacing them with a structural crossbeam that cuts 14 to 19 pounds from the upper cabin and frees up more legroom in a car expected to measure only 171 to 178 inches bumper to bumper. The Model 2's revised interior is expected to feature a slightly smaller infotainment display in the 10.5 to 11.0-inch range, offering the same interface speed and voice control as the larger Teslas without the cost of a 15-inch panel. The new infotainment computer, built on a next-gen AMD embedded platform, is projected to deliver up to 35% faster UI response while drawing less power. A meaningful improvement when every watt matters in a compact EV. Safety also gets a substantial upgrade. Because the Model 2 uses a semi-solid state pack that holds its shape better during deformation, Tesla can reinforce the lower crash rails and door structures without adding extra weight. Engineers in the Fremont crash group have been modeling side impact loads comparable to the 3,300-pound Honda Civic, even though the Model 2 may weigh nearly 300 to 350 pounds less. In practical terms, This could give the Model 2 a structural stiffness advantage rarely seen in entry-level EVs. But the most controversial interior change is the rumored elimination of the traditional stalks and gear selectors, similar to the updated Model 3. Instead, Tesla may bring a simplified steering interface with capacitive touch zones and a predictive gear selection system that uses surroundings, incline, and driver habits to choose drive or reverse automatically. Older drivers may need time to adapt, but Tesla believes removing dozens of mechanical parts reduces long-term failure points and cuts cabin production time by an estimated 40 to 55 seconds per vehicle, a critical gain when scaling up a high-volume car. Just as significant is the new software economic model Tesla plans for the Model 2. Instead of forcing drivers into expensive packages, Tesla may finally split its driver assist tiers into more affordable upgrades. A revised autopilot daily driver pack, priced far below the current full self-driving package, could give Model 2 owners lane centering, smart adaptive cruise, and limited automated passing, features that actually matter in U.S. freeway conditions. Tesla also appears to be planning a new cabin sensor array. Smaller, cheaper, but smarter. The system uses an updated RGBIR camera module capable of tracking driver fatigue at night without the need for high-power IR blasting. This keeps power draw tiny while helping Tesla meet stricter NHTSA requirements expected to roll out between 2026 and 2027. Finally, for comfort, an area where budget EVs often fail, Tesla is testing a compact heat pump system derived from the Model Y's logic, but miniaturized to fit the Model 2's smaller front compartment. Early predictions suggest it may achieve 10 to 14 degrees Fahrenheit better winter heating efficiency than older systems, directly helping the solid-state battery maintain range during cold months. For buyers in northern U.S. states, this alone could be a reason to choose the Model 2 over competing compacts from Nissan or Hyundai. That's all for today. What do you think? Which feature matters most to you? Range, charging speed, or reliability? If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe to AutoGearshift, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our next update.